my journals try to help with the after.
Yes.
Like you can grieve your past, but you have to rebuild your future because, like with my case, even though my past was erased, but in a sense, my whole future was erased too because
Hmm.
my life had to start
Okay.
over.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Soulmates and Suitcases. This is episode number 20, and my name is Lisa Brierley. And don't have my co-host with me today, Scott. However, we do have an extra special guest here today, Michael Foglietta. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Good to be here, Lisa. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you on today. We're going to talk about a major life change, life
Mhm.
event that happened to you back in 2003. We're going to dive into that and find out what happened, and then
Mhm.
we'll look a little bit more of how that is how that has affected you to show up today. So, welcome. Let's start with your story.
Okay. Well, back in 2003, um, I just got out of the Navy. In 2001, I was on a submarine, and then was stationed in Connecticut. And I met a woman out there after I got out, so I ended up staying in Connecticut, and then kind of had a couple jobs floating around there for a little bit, and then I kind of got what I call like my dream job as a test engineer, but I still worked on submarines, and I got that in June of 2003. And in December 2003, I had my AVM rupture in my brain. So basically, I only got to work there for about 6 months.
So tell us a little
Yeah.
bit more about the AVM. What happened?
Um, there's not much background because it just happened. There was no symptoms. There was no warning signs. No nothing. Um, I went to bed one night, and that's about all I remember.
So can you
I
tell
didn't.
us what is involved? And it's a long word, and I will do my best.
Mhm,
Arteriovenous malformation.
mhm.
So
Yeah,
what is
it's
involved? What is it?
it's basically a jumble of veins that kind of get clumped, tied together. And over the years, the more blood that flows through the walls, the lining of the veins gets weaker until basically it ruptures. Um, I know this more people can relate to a blood clot than an
Mm.
AVM because it's more widely known than an AVM. They're basically the same thing. AVMs can happen anywhere. Mine happened to be behind my cerebellum.
Hmm.
I've heard of people have spinal AVMs in their backs, in different parts of their brains, just all over. But I was fortunate to have mine in the brain.
How is that
That's a joke.
fortunate?
That's a joke. Um, I guess, and most of this is secondhand information, but one of the only things I remember about the night was hearing the flatline and then falling asleep.
Hmm.
And that's about it. I don't remember waking up. There's no point where I was conscious, nothing. I don't remember going home,
What's this?
none of that.
None of that.
So it was kind of a shock at first. I mean, it's still kind of a shock to this day because um, I guess when the clot ruptured, I guess blood is toxic to the brain. So
Oh,
it pretty much it erased most of my life. So I had
wow.
no more memories of my life, the things I've done, the things I've seen. I had a great childhood from the pictures that I see,
But no
but
recall of that.
well, I have flash memories of things sometimes, but nothing concrete. I don't. My mom will show me pictures of when we were kids, traveling and stuff like that. And nothing. It's kind of a weird disconnect. My mom says it was a wasted childhood because I can't remember anything. But my mom gets mad because I like to blame her for it. I call myself defective, so I like to blame my mom for it. She's not happy about it, but it's kind of a joke between us, you know. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I don't remember much. I had it's more feelings after I got out of the hospital than anything.
Hmm.
No, I think one of the only memories I have is while I was in the hospital. Um, I think I threw up on one of the nurses after physical therapy
Okay.
because they were pushing me a little bit too hard for my physical therapy. That um, went in, I was about 200 pounds, and when I left, I was about 135, 140 because every
Wow.
muscle in my body was gone.
Yeah.
So I had to learn how to walk and all that stuff again and get all my muscles back. And it was a it was a rough time. I had a bunch of painful procedures. Like I know one of them was an angiogram.
Hmm.
It's kind of where they go in through your groin. They stick a catheter in your artery in your groin, and then they route it all the way up to my brain.
Ooh.
Kind of like shoot like a dye in
Yeah.
there to see what the veins are doing.
Yeah.
And it was on a live X-ray, so that part was pretty cool. But um, the painful part was when they had to clamp the artery shut
Oh.
because I was conscious for it. They didn't put me under, so I remember those. I had like 5 or 6 of those. I had MRIs, CT scans all the time. Um, Anytime something was wrong with me, like maybe a headache or muscle ache or something like that, it was always first thought was my head.
Yeah.
Something's wrong, so I had to go to the doctor. Um, that was probably for years, I think. One of my biggest problems was turning my head because I couldn't. My neck was so stiff from the
Oh.
surgery
Yeah.
that
Oh. Okay.
I couldn't move like that. So
Yeah.
I felt kind of weird going out in public. So I didn't really go out in public very much.
Mm.
Um, the other thing was just my balance. My balance is horrible. It was worse back then what happened, but my balance is horrible. My brain is on the slow side now, so it
Yeah.
takes longer for me to process different things. Um, like when people ask me questions, sometimes I might pause for a minute because I have to think about it first.
Hmm.
I've talked about this stuff with people for so long that I'm pretty much used to it. I still stumble every once in a while, as you can probably tell with my speech, but it's a every day is kind of a learning process.
Yeah, for sure. I
Um,
mean, and how rare is this sort of an event like in with people? Like, do they know a lot about
um,
it?
they do now more than they did back in 2003. Um, Basically, back then they would have nobody would know it was there unless I went and looked. But
Oh,
now I think they have more advanced technology. I think there's something called a gamma knife that can do it without take the clot out without surgeries and stuff like that.
oh, of course, yeah.
Um, Mine was pretty radical. They had to cut into the back of my neck. There's like a 4-inch scar on the back of my neck, and they it just kind of moved everything out of the way, like the nerves and the muscles and all that.
Yeah.
And then they cut a hole in my brain. The hole in your skull where your brainstem goes through. They
Mm-hmm.
cut out more of a circle around that
Wow.
um, to kind of relieve the pressure on my brain and stuff. But when they closed me back up, they didn't put everything back in the right place. So my nerves aren't in the right place anymore.
Wow. Wow.
And I found out about that because um, during my experimental phase with medications and stuff like that, they tried to inject like a steroid kind of concoction into my nerves and my head.
Yeah.
They thought that might relieve the pain, but it was supposed to be once a week for 3 weeks, and they would just take the needle and just poke it in my head like that on both sides. And after the first time they did it, they didn't hit any of my nerves. So, because you have nerves running down your head
Yeah.
like that, and I guess mine are not in the right place anymore. So,
Wow. Wow. So a lot of
looking back on it, it's kind of funny.
a lot of, I
But
suppose, experimental things. Like, did you try other therapies as well, or was it mainly the standard?
um, mostly the standard physical therapy. I didn't do anything really radical. The only thing that was, I don't know if it was experimental, but it was kind of new technology, was they put a shunt in my spine.
Oh,
So it's basically a tube. It's no bigger than the size of a human hair, but they go in through the they went in through the bottom of my back, my lower back. Then they kind of fed it up through my spine. I don't know where it ends, but it goes up through my spine.
yeah.
And then when it comes out of my spine, it wraps around to my abdomen. And the spinal fluid just comes out of the tube and just gets reabsorbed into my body. Um, I think later on they attached a magnetic valve to it to adjust the flow,
Okay.
and I think that was it was pretty new technology for back then.
Mm,
Um, they said I was supposed to have a shunt put into my skull right here. That's the normal spot for them,
yeah.
from what I was told. But they tried this new one, and now they gave me a little card I have to carry to go through airports because it's magnetic, so it might or might turn the metal detectors on.
There you go.
Whenever I get MRIs, I have to have it checked to make sure that it's in the right position because the
Oh,
MRIs are magnetic,
yeah.
so they can change the position of the valve.
Mm,
But they don't have to go into my back to change the position. They have a little device they just put on my back and kind of turn it. Um, I had this was fairly soon after the major surgery, but I was living in Connecticut and I couldn't really get the level of care that I needed back there because I didn't have any family and friends back there, so I had to move back to California to live with my mom and my stepdad. But on my flight over, apparently this kept getting worse, and then as soon as we landed, I had to go straight back to the hospital.
oh,
And I guess before they put the shunt in, all the fluid was building up in the back of my neck, so they had to get rid of the fluid somehow, and they decided to just, the needles they use to take blood with, and
yep,
they hooked a little vial
yep.
into it. They stuck those into the back of my neck and got it out that way, but no anesthesia.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, I know they gave me something to bite down on, but that was it. I don't remember the pain. I just remember hearing the pop. It was like a popping sound.
Hmm. So one of the things that you had this big event in 2003. So where and when and how, what happened when you started to go, I realize what I need to do now in regards to, writing a book, helping other people. Like where did that shift come in for you?
Um, well, it came in about 2019 or so, 2018. Um, I was living in California and I got married out there, and then me and my now ex-wife moved to Arizona, and that's where I'm at now. But I just kind of floated around for 2003 to 2019. I didn't really do anything. I was told I would never be able to work or learn at a high level again.
Mm,
And I mean, through the years, I kind of tested my abilities or inabilities to see, how much I could take,
yeah.
physical activity and mental activity and stuff like that. But everything I did kind of just reminded me of what I can't do. So after my divorce, I was in a little apartment by myself, and I'd have my son, every once in a while too. But
Yeah.
for the most part, I was just sitting there by myself, doing nothing. And I said, let's see if I can go back to school. So
Wow.
I took a couple of classes at community college, and I did really good. So I said, okay, I'll just transfer to University of Arizona, and I went there, graduated magna cum laude in 2022. Um, and then I decided to try my luck at working again. But got a degree in international relations. This is the weird part, but I had well, there's many weird parts, but
Yeah.
um, I had an internship lined up in Washington, D.C. at one of the intelligence agencies because that's what I wanted to do. Um, but um, I had a I received SSDI, Social Security disability benefits, but I also had another policy that I had through my work at the time, and they were paying me all this time too. And all of a sudden they said, "Okay, we overpaid you."
Mm.
So I had to hire a lawyer, and all that. And the attorney I had to hire took my money that I was going to use for the internship to stay in DC for a couple months. And so I had to cancel it.
Mm.
And then I said, okay, I'll just stay here in Arizona with my son so I can be near my son. And I just tried finding jobs. I started looking for jobs about 6 months before I got out, before I finished college. And it turned out to be a pretty impossible task.
What kind of jobs were you looking for at that time? Like,
I looked for jobs that had something to do with my degree, but here in Southern Arizona, there's, not much. Um, so I kind of reverted back to what I knew. I have an engineering background,
okay.
basically from the time I was in high school till I stopped working was all in technical fields.
Mm.
Um, Even when I was in the Navy, I was a electronics technician slash radioman.
And you said you've lost your childhood memories, but did you lose the memory and knowledge from when you were an adult?
Yep, I still have some of my technical and mechanical engineering abilities. They just take a lot longer to
Mm.
figure stuff out now. I used to be able to give me a tech manual and I'll fix pretty much anything.
Yeah, so that kind
Um,
of comes naturally almost. Yeah.
yeah, it still does. My wife still tells me to go fix things.
So you were
I should
looking
never
for,
have told her.
yeah, yeah, there you go. The honey-do list, the honey-do list.
Uh-huh.
So you were looking for a job, and so what happened?
Um, I finally got a job as a kind of a project coach. Um, but the job had a lot of travel for one, but the biggest part was I was on my feet 99% of the day. And it
Mm,
was like 10, 12 hours a day. And I couldn't do it. And I think I only lasted about 3 weeks. Um, One part of my side effects of my medication is I sweat a lot.
mm.
I mean, a lot. If I just step outside now when it's hot, I start sweating. Um,
Okay.
I mean, yeah, I mean, it was gross. My whole shirt would be soaked, and it was uncomfortable. There's really nothing I could do about it. Even if I would go lay down or sit down and rest for a little while. I told my employers about my disability,
Yeah,
of course, because you have to, and it's the right thing to do.
yeah.
Um, so they kind of understood. And after that, I tried like work from home jobs,
Hmm.
like customer service and um, stuff like that. But those jobs are even more difficult than you can imagine because
What were you experiencing? Yeah.
um, you have to have about 4 or 5 screens open on your
Oh,
computer. You have to listen to what they're saying, type it into the computer, then find the right person to send it to, and my brain just doesn't do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I still can't do that. The only reason I did good in college was, you know what data dumps are.
Um,
You learn
kind
something
of.
and then just
Yes.
you learn something and then after you use it, you just data dump it. That's pretty much what college was.
Yeah.
Um, and I had a lot of help in college from the university, so they helped me quite a bit. But
Mm,
I tried the customer service jobs. I tried retail. Um, I worked for the Department of Child Safety for a while,
mm,
but that I like that job. I like the people I work with, but as I gained more responsibility, I had to learn more,
mm.
and I couldn't remember the stuff that I needed to.
No.
There's a lot of forms, and there's certain time periods that these forms have to be filled out by and sent to the courts and stuff like that. And my coworkers couldn't just sit there and watch me the whole time,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So that got hard, and then worked at Home Depot for a little while,
Hmm.
but even it's too hard. Then I got a job. My last job was actually at a prison as a maintenance technician. It
Oh.
was actually a fun job. I loved it,
Oh.
and but it was it was rough. Of course, you'd walk around all day, and I didn't really have to fix too many things. I had some inmates work for me,
Oh.
and they did most of the work.
Oh.
But it was fun. I had no problems with the inmates at all. No,
So
you,
when
sh-
so
you
when
show
you
them.
were, yeah, when you were looking for these jobs, was it mostly the can I say it's a disability? Was it mostly the
Uh-huh.
disability, or um, what was it that was kind of like glaring you in the face every time when you were doing these jobs or attempting to do
Um,
the jobs?
my my disabilities. I have several.
Yeah,
My one is my brain. My brain processes a lot slower now,
yeah.
so it takes me longer to figure things out. Than my physical disabilities. They're invisible to other people, but I have trouble walking sometimes.
Mm.
I'll just be walking and all of a sudden I'll veer off like that.
Well, your
um,
computer up here
uh-huh.
is reprogramming.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um, actually, the cerebellum is responsible for balance,
there you go.
and they had to cut part of my cerebellum out.
There you go.
So that doesn't help. Um, but it was that fatigue. I get really
Yeah.
fatigued. I thought, you know, after working for so long, my body would get used to, walking around all day and stuff, but it
Mhm.
never did. It got worse.
Oh.
Plus, climbing up and down ladders several times a day
Mm.
is not good for me. And then I got kind of seriously injured at work.
Oh.
Um, I hyperextended my left elbow and it snapped my biceps tendon, and they couldn't repair it. So I was off work for a while, and my symptoms just started getting worse. I have tremors.
Yeah.
Um, my balance was getting worse. I fell down at the job all the time. The guys would kind of laugh. It was funny. I'll admit, it wasn't scary, but it was funny. But after I went back to work after my injury, my symptoms were just worse, and
Mm.
I didn't feel safe doing it anymore.
No, no.
So that's when my wife and I decided that, okay, well, it's time for you to do something safe for one,
Yeah.
and something that I like doing. I've always enjoyed writing. Um, I've tried writing books before and stuff, but frankly, my brain can't handle it.
Yeah.
I get
Yeah.
I get writer's block and all that all the time. Um, so it takes me a while to do anything. And the journals I created are basically things that I'm used to. The questions that I have in the journals, the prompts, they help people focus on what's going on, what
Hmm.
they're going through and stuff. And I didn't have that when I was going through it because I had PTSD and everything. And I saw a psychologist for years, and I don't remember many sessions of it, but I know that's how I got through the PTSD and the 5 stages of grief and all of that, you know. So, and then after a while, I kind of started going out again, getting outside, making friends again, because it was just and it was just rough.
Yeah, and so you mentioned the PTSD, and that of course is a big awareness in our world today. And so is that to
Mhm.
the event that happened on in 2003 or something previous that you were working through?
Here's a quick pause in the conversation to invite you to join our Facebook community, Soulmates and Suitcases podcast. Tell your story, amplify your voice, where we share upcoming guests, new episodes, and conversations from the podcast. And you can catch all episodes on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Be sure to follow and subscribe so you never miss an episode. Now back to the show.
No, it was from that event.
Yes.
PTSD is not just from war,
No.
and it can be any kind of traumatic event. Um, People that have car accidents, they become paralyzed. They can get PTSD from that. Violent acts, like
Mm-hmm.
some a family member's murdered or somebody gets shot. Um, like the World Trade Center, people had PTSD from that. It can really be any kind of traumatic event that triggers PTSD. So,
Yes, and do I have this right? It becomes an internalized sort of thing in your nervous system,
mhm.
correct?
For me, it was mostly anger.
Oh, okay.
I was pretty angry for a while,
Which makes
but
it
it can
challenging for
yeah
having a position, a job, and that sort of thing as well.
yeah it took over for a while. I don't have it anymore. I know. I mean, I still one of the side effects of brain injuries is emotional issues. Um, I don't have how can I say my emotions sometimes just aren't there anymore. Like
Mm.
it's kind of weird. Like if something bad happens to somebody, I'm sorry about it and I feel bad for them, but it doesn't bother me as much as it should.
Yeah, I hear you because
I don't know if that I don't know if that makes any sense.
I see that in my husband as well. So same kind of
Hmm.
thing. So that he talked about it took some time because he had a major brain injury when he was at the age of 7, and he
Hmm.
was hit by a car, dragged by a car at the age of 7, and had surgery on his brain as well. And same sort of thing. So rage or anger was a big thing for many, many years, and he was
Hmm.
lovingly known as Angry Scott for many years. But it's good to hear from your story, Michael, and Scott's, that it doesn't mean it's a lasting forever sort of thing. And so
Hmm.
what helped you, I suppose, subdue or understand, or I'm not sure how you present the understanding of getting rid of the anger feeling.
I think it's mostly acceptance.
Acceptance, okay.
Hmm.
And so what does that look like?
After a traumatic event, for most people, not all, but for most people, your life completely changes.
Yeah.
You have your before life and your afterlife,
Hmm.
and at least this is just the way I look at
Yeah.
it. The before life, normal life, normal memories, stuff like that. Your afterlife, you have no idea what your future is going to be.
Mm.
None, because like for me, I had to adjust to so many new things. I couldn't do what I used to do prior to my injury. I could go hiking, I could go biking, snow skiing, surfing, water skiing, anything I want, horseback riding, stuff like that. But now I can't.
Yeah, it's very different.
Because yeah, because for me at least, when my brain bounces around, it's not a good thing,
Yeah. Oh
and
yeah.
I get extremely nauseous and dizzy.
Mm.
So basically, what I looked at it was, okay, I can just sit here and do nothing
Yeah.
for the rest of my life, And technically, that would have been okay. What I experienced was something horrific.
Mhm.
But two things. One is my age. I was 32 years old when it happened. I didn't see myself sitting on a couch for 40 more years.
Yeah, yeah.
But I still had to get to a point in my recovery where I could actually do things again.
Hmm.
And after I could actually do things again, I just started kind of testing my capabilities. I like to make things with my hands, work with my hands because
Hmm.
that's just the kind of person I am. The first thing I did was I tried to make surfboards. I don't know why. I just it's just something I picked to try to do. It was somewhat inexpensive, but well, I wasn't very good at. I was decent, but I wasn't very good at it. But it was fun for me.
At
I
making
learned a
what?
new
Sorry, can you say that again?
surfboards. Surfboards.
Surfboards. Wow, there's
Uh-huh.
an adventure.
Yeah, I'd never done it before, so I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot.
I don't even know how you
And
make a surfboard.
I learned. I
Yeah,
got YouTube video, or I don't know if they had YouTube back then. I think they did, but I just kind of learned over the internet,
yeah.
and I just did it. I wasn't the best at it, and it took me about I don't know 3 to 6 months to make one surfboard when it takes the professionals maybe a day. So
Mm-mm.
I knew that wasn't going to be something I could do as a business.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just kind of a hobby, but I learned that I can't do physical things every single day.
Yes, yes. You need
So
the
I
you
was
need that
testing it.
balance, yes, of something
Yeah,
different.
yeah. And then I did just little things, fix things around the house, for my friends and stuff, for my family. And then I decided to tackle a bigger project, which is making a boat, a speedboat. I
Wow.
bought uh, I bought a shell of a boat, basically.
Yeah.
Um, I just completely cleaned out the whole inside of the boat. I cut the whole back end of the boat off, and then I just built up the back end again. And I painted it, I sanded it, I did all kinds of filled in a bunch of holes in it and stuff like that. I did the wiring, the gauges, everything. The only thing I didn't do was put upholstery on the seats, but I did the motor. I mounted the motor on it and everything. And the best part was it ran and it floated, so I was happy. But it took about 2 years to do it.
Oh, that's okay. I mean, look at people who restore cars and things like that. It takes many,
uh,
many years to do that. So what did that sort of represent for you?
but it wasn't just existing.
Mm,
It was so that I could actually do something,
mm,
um, and just kind of just not be a lazy lump on a couch.
yeah.
Like I'm from Southern California, so I went to the beach a lot. I just go lay out in the sun for a few hours a day, and every once in a while, and I enjoyed that. It was relaxing. I like hearing the ocean and stuff. There's no real beach here in Arizona, so I can't really do that. But um,
Except for what's
oh,
behind you.
yeah. Oh, that picture is actually from California.
Ah, it's from California. There you go.
Uh-huh.
And so it's very inspirational, even for those people who are listening or watching, you know, feeling stuck or some challenge in their life. And what sort of, I suppose, advice or what did you do to kind of go, I need to switch? Like,
Um, I don't think there was one switch that just turned on one day. I think it was a series of things that happened.
small steps.
Uh, uh-huh. Like the surfboards, the boat. Um, I finally moved out of my parents' house after about 10 years. So, I mean, it was just a whole line of things that happened. Um, I met the woman I moved to Arizona with,
Yeah.
and then we got divorced and had our son, and it was just kind of okay. But now, 'cause I know having my son is enough, but for myself, I need something more. I can't just my son can't be my life. I have to have something outside of my son
Yeah.
to kind of keep going.
Yes.
And that's kind of when after the divorce, I just kind of went, okay, I'll try going to school and see what happens and try going back to work. But they told me I would never work again or learn at a high level again. I think they were right about the work thing.
Well, and work looks differently for many people nowadays, right? We're
Mhm.
doing things differently, not so much 9 to 5 sort of positions, and we're looking at different things. So, what does your work look like today?
Um, my writing, my journals that I created.
Yeah,
I'm doing like a series of books too on how to get through traumatic experiences. I'm actually trying to start a drone business.
a drone business.
Hmm. It's it's fun. I like flying the drones. Um, I never really thought about making money off of it, but I
Mm,
figured why not? Why not give it a shot? Because I'm not working right now, and um, so I said, okay, I'll do that. So I've had some customers so far, but it's slow. I mean, we're kind of
yeah.
tight right now, but it's something that I can do on my own schedule, and
Mm,
it's not very physically demanding.
yeah. Yeah,
So,
exactly. You need to, you're finding things that fit you and can
mhm,
still be, what's the word, exciting enough that you're excited to do this,
mhm,
that business. Yeah, exactly. And so your authoring journey, I know there'll be people listening, especially even Scott, when he started writing his book, it was challenging. He was
mhm,
a poker on the computer,
uh-huh.
poke, 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 and it was exhausting in many ways. So, what was that experience like for you, and how did you go about getting your books um, produced and written down and that sort of thing?
I have to admit that part of it was AI.
Yeah,
I have conversations with
yeah,
AI because I came up with the idea
yeah,
of the journals. They're for individuals and caregivers, so they can both go through at the same time.
yeah.
But I just I bounce ideas so I can kind of focus my brain a little bit more because it gets stuck.
Oh, yeah,
There's not much more I can say about it.
yeah,
I know the whole AI thing is a little sketchy right now, but it helps me focus. I don't just cut and paste anything. I have conversations,
yeah.
and then whatever the AI gives me, I adjust it to what I feel is a lot better. So it's not just cut and paste kind of stuff. But I think without it, it would be harder because it takes so much thought to do it. It's not.
Yeah.
I can't just sit there and just start writing. My brain doesn't work like that. I've tried writing books several times throughout this whole over 20-year journey, but
Yeah.
it's just too hard on my brain just can't focus that long.
Yeah, yeah, the thing about chat or about AI is that, a lot of us kind of go, oh, it's solving our problem, but really it is a tool. And what we put
Hmm.
into it helps to get out what we really want to say. And so I use it as
Hmm.
well in conversation. I use it a lot in conversation to get through those blocks or
Hmm.
explain something better that I didn't think of or that sort of thing. And um, a coach that I worked with in regards to writing books, she suggested Otter AI, which is another really AI tool, another tool that you can
Hmm.
use that if you don't want to or you're not able to write it down, you can verbalize these things. And that's a tool. And it's so great now
Hmm.
that we have these tools so people with different abilities can use them. I know my husband loves spell stuff that you can help to spell words because he too
Uh-huh.
has a hard time recalling spelling of words and
Right.
mixes spelling of words up all the time. So it's great to have these tools.
Hmm. Yeah, I know. I've seen a lot of people comment on AI that when somebody buy a book that's partly written from AI and then, oh no, never, blah, blah. And no, I don't think anybody cuts and pastes anything. It's a tool,
No, it's a
and it's
tool.
not. Hmm.
And our
And
story is
that's what
our
I use it
story.
for.
Yeah, our
Yeah.
story is our story, and you're in that story. And I often think as well too, like anyone who edits your book is also in on the part of the tool
Hmm.
system, right, to support you.
Hmm.
And
Yeah, I use
so,
it. I edit pretty extensively
mm,
because, I mean, it's wrong sometimes, but I like to make sure that what I'm saying actually is true
yeah,
and something that came from me. But it's fun too because my brain doesn't work normally.
mhm,
Um, when I have a thought, something that I want to put in the journal or in the book or just tell my wife or my kids or something, I say, okay, I want to write this down.
yeah,
But when I go for something to write it down with, my brain gets distracted and I completely forget what I wanted to write down.
yeah.
So that's another challenge that I have too. Is everything is more difficult, I would say.
And so, do you have your books there by chance to show?
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so share with us what you've got and tell us a little bit about what our audience would find
Uh,
inside your book.
this one is where is it? Adapting to sudden disability.
So
The
that's the
um,
journal.
this is well, speaking directly from the title, it's a guided recovery journal for stroke, spinal cord injury, chronic illness, trauma, and life after unexpected medical crisis.
Mm,
And I put a little bit of about the author, which is me, but like the first prompt in the journal is, what were you feeling the first few days in the hospital after the initial shock wore off?
mm,
And then towards the end, it's home modifications and stuff like that for
fantastic.
the home, and then tools for adaptation. Um, how do you feel about using devices to make your life easier or more of a burden? Redefining success. Um, like your life's been completely rearranged. Are you finding joy in new activities and progress?
Mm.
So the problem is like they kind of look like blank pages. But
Yeah, you have lines there. I just caught it there. Yeah, you have lines, so you can
yeah,
actually really use that book well.
yeah. But a lot of people that are just thumbing through it just kind of see the blank page and don't
Yeah,
read the prompt.
yeah,
The prompts are very specific because I know when I went through the psychotherapy, the psychologist, they would ask me these kind of questions, and when during that time my brain was even worse than it is now. So if the psychologist asked me that question, is what do you think about your before and after? I had to think about it for a long time.
mm,
And if I would have had those like in the journal, um, I could have had that question answered and showed him the page where I answered it.
yeah. There you go. Right.
Hmm. And then like rebuilding your life after the traumatic event,
Yeah.
stuff like that. It's stuff people can put into words, especially when they don't know exactly what they want to say
Mm,
right at the time they're being asked.
yeah.
I know I had a lot of trouble answering questions, so that was
Mm.
frustrating for me and probably frustrating for the psychologist too.
It takes time to, is it also process what's coming in and process what's going out? Say both, right?
Yep. Yeah, because I know too, I learned that the cerebellum, every piece of information that we take in from our five senses goes through the cerebellum and into a specific address in the brain. So since I'm missing part of my cerebellum and it's damaged, I have no idea what's going to get through
Ah, I see.
or not get through. So sometimes I can remember something for a few minutes, sometimes not at all, sometimes for a day or two, but I have no idea. And people just say I'm faking it sometimes.
You
Which
don't know until
understandable, but
they're in your shoes, right? You don't
uh-huh.
know.
Yeah,
That's the big thing.
yeah. People always say, "Oh, I have memory problems too." I'm like, "No, you don't."
Well, we all have different types or problems, and this is one thing I know I've discussed with my husband on several occasions that, we can compare if we want his life and compare it to my life, and my
Mhm,
life looked like I was a breeze, and his life
mhm,
is really stacked with a lot of, addiction and injuries and major life things. And his trauma was challenging for his body. My own
mhm,
trauma was challenging for my body. So
mhm.
everyone, experiences their sort of what we can compare it on a level, but it's what our own system can handle. So,
Right.
so like you talked about, you're hoping to help support people to build their resilience, right?
Mhm.
Through these books and your story. So, do you have other books that you have there that you can show us as well?
Yeah. This one is I know the background thing kind of
Yeah, try
messes
and
up.
put it in front. I know, yeah, there you go.
This
Adapt,
is the adapting to sudden disability, but the caregiver edition,
perfect.
and that's just for the caregiver. And it has the the same thing for the adapting to PTSD, and I have the caregiver edition for that one as well.
Excellent. So when you say caregiver, because I know of some people who have a diagnosed PTSD, they appear to have a quite normal life. They have a
Mhm.
family, they own a home, that sort of thing. When you talk about families and caregivers, like, can you also include, or what I need to say is it beneficial to like spouses of someone with
Mhm.
PTSD who can read this, and what will they get out of it, I guess is maybe what I'm asking.
Um, I use caregivers as a general term. It can mean spouse, parent, family, friend, complete stranger, someone who's in direct contact with
Mm,
the person who has PTSD or sudden disability. It's whoever's mostly taking care of that person.
okay.
So it's like that. I have them too for cerebral palsy. This is the cerebral palsy one.
Yes, that's great. And so you said that was ages what again?
This one's 7 to 11.
11.
Then I have 12 to 15, and these are for the young teens.
Okay.
And then this one, I made it the cover a little more mature
Mm-hmm.
for teenagers, and because their lives are different between the 7 to 11 year old age to when you're a teenager,
Yeah, that's for sure.
and then the caregiver one.
And so can you educate me on the link between what you experienced and cerebral palsy?
Um, it's kind of your life as you know it is gone, and you go from. I mean, most people that are diagnosed with cerebral palsy is at a young age,
Yeah.
not necessarily at birth. Could
Mm,
be 5 years old, 10 years old. So, but I think people in their minds kind of have an idea that there's something wrong with their child, but they just kind of either don't want to admit it or know the answer to it.
mm,
But and there's different levels of cerebral palsy. Somebody that is not as severe as somebody else. So, um, somebody with a disability might not be as severe as someone else with a disability,
mhm.
like me. And my disabilities, someone that has the exact same thing happen to them, their experiences are going to be different.
Yeah.
Just like with any illness, the the main ideas are translatable because you're dealing with something that you're going to deal with for the rest of your life.
Mm.
So, and it doesn't matter what exactly it is, but for each certain things, like I had the disability, the PTSD, the cerebral palsy, and I'm working on autism one now. And
Oh,
I'll do other things. I'll do other things too, but the life track for any kind of chronic illness, mental illness, physical illness, impairments is not an easy one. And there's usually a before and after.
mhm.
So my journals try to help with the after.
Yes.
Like you can grieve your past, but you have to rebuild your future because, like with my case, even though my past was erased, but in a sense my whole future was erased too because
Mm.
my life had to start over.
Mm.
So there's no map.
No.
Like we know when you're growing up, you go to school, you graduate from college or from high school, and you need to go to college, maybe get a job, work for 20, 30 years, retire, and that's about it. Travel, do all that kind of stuff. But for someone with a disability, that's not the life trajectory anymore.
Yeah, it's different.
So somebody can go through life with nothing happening to them at all, or someone have a traumatic event like me that their life is completely over.
Mm.
And they have to learn how to basically how to live again.
Yeah.
Like once we're old, we don't have to start from zero, but we have to start from about two or three
Yeah.
because we don't have to go through school again, but we have to, like I say, adapt to what's happening to us. Because back in 2003, I didn't know how I was going to end up 20 years from then. And every day is just kind of a learning experience. I
Yeah.
still, I still, I get hot flashes sometimes. My dizziness will kind of be overwhelming sometimes. I get nauseous. I get my tremors are worse sometimes.
Hmm.
My wife tells me that I shake really bad sometimes at night when I'm sleeping. Um, so, and that stuff didn't happen as much 10 years ago.
Hmm.
So it's just a constant review of what's happening. I mean, it all depends on what your particular trauma is or your disability. Everyone's is different.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's why um, people don't really understand what we go through every day, how hard life is, um, and what kind of unique perspectives that we have
Mm.
about life. Like when I worked before, I mean, like everybody at every job, you get angry sometimes, at your boss. You know, you want to change something at work or something. And I mean, that's how I was too. But now my whole outlook on that changed.
Mm.
I said, okay, you're the boss. And that's about it.
Mm.
Then I stopped arguing just because I don't like that feeling anymore.
It
To,
doesn't
to
serve
me,
you. Mm.
no. To me, like now, anger is a wasted emotion. And now people sometimes say anger kind of helps you focus the brain on what you're doing.
Mm.
So you just go get it done. But anger now does absolutely nothing for me.
It's like an overload for your system in some way.
Yeah. I mean, I still get grumpy if if I get too many people talking to me or something. I get a little anxiety too. Nothing horrible, but I just don't want to. I don't like having too many people trying to talk to me. It's just kind of it's too much on my brain.
My husband experiences the same thing. It can be
Mhm.
overload, and for
Mhm.
him, he believes that there's a connection because he was recently diagnosed with ADHD as well. So the brain injury and the ADHD, or
Mhm.
possibly one led into another, like because he doesn't know if he was ADHD before the accident or if that was something that was sort of
Right.
accelerated after the accident. So yeah, but he's
Yeah.
definitely very similar to you in regards to overload and
Mhm.
needs that the time to be quiet, needs time to have downtime,
Mhm.
less input, like I think visual input as well as less hearing input, auditory input. So yeah, it's very important. And I think you talked about, you might get grumpy. You're not angry, but you might have grumpy days. And
Final pause. If you've got a message on your heart and want to be our guest, don't be shy. We'd love to hear from you. Visit forwardwalkingchoices.com, scroll to the Soulmates and Suitcases podcast section, and click apply here. Now back to the show.
And I think it's important for all of us who are around people who have had some sort of trauma in their life, whether it's brain injury or something else, to come from a place of compassion and curiosity as well, because
Mhm.
it's just asking the question like, how are you today and what do you need?
Mhm. Yeah. Like on that, one thing I didn't put into my journals are daily wellness trackers.
Wonderful, yeah.
There's there's no medical trackers, there's no symptom trackers, those daily affirmation calendars, none of those are in there. Those are for doctors. Like the daily symptom trackers and stuff, those are for doctors.
Yeah,
This is for more mental health kind of
yeah,
stuff to get you to think.
yeah.
That's why I made them. It gets you to think about what you're going through, not how you feel. Because how you feel, to me at least, how you feel is different from how you're thinking.
Yes, yes.
I might feel crappy today, but I'm still thinking fine.
Yeah, and
I can,
you can shift at any point. So the
mhm,
awareness is there and you can still choose to have a great day, even though
mhm,
you woke up grumpy or whatever,
mhm.
agitated or physically, depleted or whatever the case may be, you still can choose how you're going to show up that day.
Yeah, it took me a long time to learn how not to be angry
Mm,
at the littlest things. It's not something you can just do overnight.
no.
Um, like if I get a flat tire or, I break a window or in my car or something like that, anything really, some people just fly off the handle when that stuff happens, but I just say, okay, and go on with my day.
Yeah, that's kind of what my husband does too. A little chuckle and just kind of, oh well, I'll get on with the
Yeah,
day.
that's all you can do.
Yeah. So when were your books published, and what sort of feedback have you been getting from your books, your journals?
Honestly, I just published them about a month ago,
Okay,
and I
so
don't
pretty
really have any
new.
feedback yet.
Yeah.
So I'm still trying to get them out there. Um, I'm not the best at it because I really kind of don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, it's
But
a process for anyone who's
yeah,
written a book. Yeah.
yeah, it's a process. So I'm still working on that,
Yeah.
getting them out there. I'm finally I have them on Amazon, and then I tried to get them on Ingram Spark
Yeah.
for distribution, but they don't like publishing low content books, especially journals.
Hmm.
But I have them on Lulu. That's another publishing
Perfect.
company, I guess. And Lulu's fine; they're on there. Um, but the Amazon ones are on there too. But I'm still learning how marketing and stuff like that works. I know the audience I want to sell them to or give them to,
Hmm.
um, like psychologists, um,
Mm.
clinics, stuff like that. But getting your foot in the door is a little harder than I thought it would be.
And another area, if I may suggest, is also schools, teachers as well.
Mhm.
So it's just part of the education.
Right. So I'm still working on that. But I'm trying to get the drone stuff going too, so we can start having an income again. My wife works, but we have to be a two-income family.
Yes, yes, I understand. And so we're just wrapping up there, Michael. It's been
Okay.
really great chatting with you. And what is your website again so our audience can find you?
It's I don't know the whole thing.
Okay.
I don't have a specific one. It's a general with Tertulia.
Okay, I will make
It's
sure it's all gets posted in.
tertulia.com. I think I put it on the paper that I gave you.
Yep, all that information is there. Sometimes I like to mention it because we will have listeners who are just listening.
Hmm.
Our audience is just listening
Yeah,
and but we'll
I
make sure
couldn't.
all of
I
it is
can't.
in.
I
That's
can't
okay.
remember.
That's okay. Well, Michael, you've definitely been on a journey of resilience, and it's very inspiring for sure.
Thank you,
Everything,
Lisa.
everything you've gone through, and wow, you have eight books, I believe, altogether there published, ready to
Yeah,
go.
I just published a ebook too. I'm doing a
Amazing.
series of ebooks on the whole process of recovering. And the first one's about basically the first, I don't know, a few months after you get out of the hospital, kind of
Okay.
like a guide, kind of like a guide on what to do
Wow.
and how to handle things because I didn't have that when I went through it.
Yeah, and there's always I suppose new information on different tools, different ways, different things that you can
Mhm.
do, different therapies and that sort of thing. So thank you very much, Michael. And yeah, we'll definitely share your link and people can come on your site there to check out what's kind of coming up with you and what's new and your books and they can get your books on your website there.
Yeah, I have a blog on my author website too.
Yes, I saw that as
So
well. Yeah, you have a
thank you,
lot of
Lisa.
them.
I appreciate it.
Appreciate it very much.
Sorry your husband wasn't here.
Yeah, I know. He's going to like this one.
Yeah.
Thanks so much, Michael. Take care. Have a
You're
good
welcome.
rest of your day.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank
You
you.
too.
Bye-bye.
Good talking to you.
Yeah,
Bye.
bye-bye, Michael.
Looking for more inspiration around healing, love, growth, and possibility? You can explore our books at payhip.com/Lisa Scott Brearley Authors. And if today's episode meant something to you, we'd love for you to follow the podcast, share it with someone you care about, or join our Soulmates and Suitcases community online. Thanks for being here, and we'll see you next time.